Looking at them made mission seem to go better. Roland chuckled and handed the data disk back. "Whatever you say," he said. "So why a space cadet though? What if something happens?" Gail turned to Roland, shaking her head. He knew instantly he had said something stupid. "It's all right," Kelly said, catching the exchange. "I think about it every day. But it's all I know." "What about your husband?" Roland asked. Again, Gail shook her head. "He was in the military. He died during a dispute in the second galaxy. I was pregnant with Dexter then." "That's why she's not a snob," Roland thought. "I'm sorry." "It's all right. It was hard at first, but I had to get over it for Dexter's sake," Kelly said. Holding up the data disk, she flipped through the photos until she found the one she was looking for. Displayed was Kelly sitting in a plush chair and her son leaning against her chest asleep. Kelly smiled. "He is very cute," said a woman, walking behind the space cadet. "You must be so proud." "Thanks." "I am," Kelly said. The tunnel suddenly branched outward and the team ended up in a large, circular room. The orbs that had lit their way spread out, circling the room. Instantly, 3 things were uncovered. 2 tunnels on the far side of the tunnel branching off in 2 different directions and a small body lying in the middle of the room. "Oh no," Kelly said, placing the data disk back in her uniform. Moving forwards, Kelly saw the body belonged to a young naked boy. The boy looked to be about 5 or 6 years old. His hair was silver and his skin was pale. Kelly went to her knees by the boy's side and felt his neck. There was no pulse. "Is he?" Roland asked. "Yeah," Kelly said. "Poor baby." She moved a few stray hairs out of the boy's face. As she did so, she looked for bruises or cuts on the boy's body, but saw none. "What killed you, baby?" Kelly thought. "You," Roland said, pointing towards the nearest soldier. "Take the boy back to the ship." "Sir." The man said, saluting. "Where should I put him?" "One of the bunks." "Be gentle." "Stay with him," Roland said. "Sir." The man moved forwards and gently picked the boy up. An orb led the man back through the tunnel they had just moved through. "Thanks," Kelly said, standing. Roland didn't say anything. He knew the space cadet would appreciate the gesture. But he would have done it regardless of whether she was there or not. Both Kelly and Roland turned towards the 2 branching tunnels. "There's no way a ship could have done this," said Kelly. "I guess we should split up," Gail said, breaking into the space cadet's thoughts. "Right. I'll take a team and Kelly, you take a team," Roland said. Roland pointed towards 9 people and directed them towards the tunnel to the left. "The rest of you follow Kelly and obey her orders." Roland added the last part when he saw the annoyance in most of the soldiers' faces. Gail lifted her arm and typed some information into her wrist. Suddenly, 9 orbs entered the right tunnel, while 9 entered the left. The last orb hovered towards the middle of the room. Without saying anything more, Roland led his men into the left tunnel. "All right guys. Let's go," Kelly said, pointing towards the right tunnel. Kelly was the first to enter. The tunnel she now stood in was much smaller and looked like it had always been there. It was smooth like the last tunnel, and the ground was littered with rocks. Several minutes later, Kelly and her team emerged into another room, but this one was shaped like the letter C and had several large boulders that littered the ground. On the far side of the room, another tunnel could be seen. Kelly took a few steps forwards when suddenly the ground started to tremble. Debris started to rain down from the ceiling above. "Everyone back!" Kelly commanded. Several soldiers ducked back into the tunnel, as the trembling grew more intense. Just as Kelly was about to turn to run, she saw a large boulder crash in front of the tunnel, trapping her and 1 other soldier inside. A few meters away, a burst of dirt was launched into the air and a large figure appeared. The figure was a sand crab. The creature was 10 feet tall and was dark red and white in color. The creature lifted its pincers and roared in defiance. "Whoa," Kelly said, taking a few steps away from the creature. Sand crabs were common on this planet, but usually they were only a few inches in size. Kelly aimed her laser pistol at the crab and fired off 2 blasts. The blasts were bright red in color and slammed into the creature's face. Only a few pieces of its tough body chipped away. "What is that thing?" demanded the remaining soldier. "Don't worry," Kelly said, replacing her pistol back in its holster. Grabbing the hilt of her sword, the black ribbons binding it to her back unfurled and returned to the circular device on the Space Cadet's shoulder. With blinding speed, Kelly dashed towards the crab. Her sword was lowered and poised for an attack. The soldier watched as the crab launched a third claw located beneath its left claw at the Space Cadet. The claw slammed into the ground, missing Kelly by mere inches. When Kelly was close enough, she leapt high into the air and brought her sword down just as quickly. The blade sliced the crab open and dark greenish blood spewed out of the wound. The crab roared in fury and pain. It teetered on its legs before falling dead to the right. Kelly landed. Was anyone killed? The Space Cadet asked, looking over her shoulder at the frightened man. The soldier shook his head. In his hands he held a large laser cannon. A few orbs were destroyed. That's all right. Better them than any of us. That was amazing, the soldier said, stepping up to the Space Cadet. How did you do it? The man asked. He had never seen anyone wield a sword before, let alone leap almost 10 feet in the air. Just practice, Kelly said, smiling. Her eyes tilted down towards the laser cannon the man held in his hands. I bet you're good with that thing. Well, said the man, his cheeks burning red with embarrassment. I don't like to brag, but I can aim pretty well. Kelly was about to say something else when the trembling started up again. Turning, she saw several more crabs emerge from the ground and even more from the walls and ceiling. I hope you're doing okay, Roland. Kelly thought as she tightened her grip on the hilt of her sword. Kelly rushed towards the nearest crab. And like before, she sliced its body open with her sword. Dark greenish blood spewed from the crab's body, painting the ground the same sickly color. As Kelly landed, she ran towards another crab and easily cleaved its legs from its body. As it crashed to the ground, Kelly stuck its head with the point of her sword, killing it instantly. Kelly turned towards the soldier who was running towards her, but before he could get close, several crabs appeared before him. Get down, Kelly commanded, but her words went unheeded. Instead, the man aimed his cannon towards the nearest crab and fired. The blast was much fiercer than a laser pistol blast. This blast struck the crab and ate away the top half of its body. Blood and chunks of the crab littered the ground. Before the crab fell dead, the soldier was turning on his heels and firing at the next creature, then the next, and finally the last crab was taken down. All 4 crabs struck the ground, their bodies destroyed, in less than a few seconds. Not bad, Kelly said happily. The man was better than he had let on. All his blasts were dead on. Thanks, the soldier said. Tell Roland he should promote me. Kelly giggled, I will. The Space Cadet glanced around the room once more. When she was certain no other crabs were about to appear, she swung her sword towards her back. Once again, the black ribbon snaked around the blade, binding it to her back. Kelly, the soldier and the remaining orbs entered the unblocked tunnel and continued on for 20 minutes. Finally, they arrived in another room. This room was the biggest out of all the rooms they had been in thus far. It was over 50 meters in length and littered with rocks and boulders. Hey! Came a familiar voice. Roland appeared from behind a boulder. You lost some guys? Yeah, Kelly nodded. They might be, she began. Nah. It's okay, Roland said, waving a hand dismissively. They went around and entered the tunnel we went through. We were coming to rescue you guys, but it looks like you didn't need it. Yeah, said Kelly, relieved the men were okay. Thanks to your man here. You should promote him. Roland narrowed his eyes towards the soldier who was laughing behind Kelly. When he saw his commander was staring at him, he stopped instantly. He is always trying to get one. Come on, we found the ship, Roland said, waving the Space Cadet over. You did? Kelly asked. The Space Cadet followed Roland to the middle of the large cavern. There a strange craft sat. The craft looked like it was an escape pod. It didn't have wings or weapons. The side of the ship had a small crack in it and a strange white fluid was draining down the hull. Did you get a sample? Kelly asked, pointing at the substance.